Why, hello there. I usually say welcome to this video, but I don't feel like saying that this time because this is going to be a pretty somber video. I have a lot to say. I'm going to start off by saying I was wrong. I was very wrong. Many people were very wrong. I was very wrong. I thought that Kamala was going to win, and I thought that she was going to win by a pretty good margin. I thought that it was going to be close. Like, I didn't have any delusions of grandeur or anything. I thought that it was going to be a close race, but I thought that the polling might have been a little bit off and that there might have been a bit more of a lead that or something. I don't know, but none of that matters anymore because Trump has won and he will be the next president of the United States. On top of that, the Republicans have also won the Senate, and it looks like they are going to have the House as well. So we are looking at a completely unchained Donald Trump presidency. Of course, the Supreme Court recently ruled that he will have full immunity from criminal prosecution. He will be able to do literally anything he wants. And he will have the full backing of and power of Congress and the House and everything. Like, it's all there. The Supreme Court, it's all there. And all of the checks and balances, all of the people who held him back the first time are gone because they've been fired and estranged from the party. So it is a presidency run by a fascist who's got loyalists and unchecked power. Now, I could spend this video talking about political analysis and stuff like that, but I'm just going to be real with you. I don't know what to make of this anymore. I was so wrong that I feel like embarrassed about my political instincts. I saw a couple other people say this, that like, no more predictions from me. Yeah, I'm done trying to play this guessing game. Like, I think I know what it is. It's that the moderate voter is completely this unknowable beast. Once, if you are watching this video and you're watching political content on YouTube, you are no longer the moderate voter. You are no longer the median voter. You're no longer the average American voter. Like, if you're watching political content online in any capacity other than outside of like a couple Instagram reels or whatever, you are more tuned in than like 90+% of Americans. All I will say for now, looking at the data, is that we had ridiculously low turnout for the Dems and ridiculously high turnout for the Republicans, and it just was like a perfect storm. That's literally what the situation was. But like, I want to put all that aside because I want to talk to a lot of people in my community. Welcome to the nearly 300 subscribers that I got from my last video. I know that this is such a weird, like, I just made a cute, fun, kind of deep video about transition stuffs like a couple days ago because I was not expecting to have to give such somber news right after, but now we have a hard pivot in this video where I have to talk about some uncomfortable realities with you. And this is going to be not such a fun conversation, but I just want to put in perspective that I do think that we will get through this, and it's not going to be easy. But even though it will not be easy, we will find a way forward. We will. Now, depending on your situation, who you are, and where you're living, this presidency will affect you very differently. Everyone's going to be affected by the bad economic policies, by all that other stuff. But I'm specifically talking to anyone in the LGBTQ plus community. You know, if you're not white, that's going to be an issue because hate crimes are going to go up for all of us. We're all going to experience more violence, more bigotry, more hatred, and the political environment is going to push more to the right over the course of the next Donald Trump presidency. So we need to be ready for that. You need to expect it, and you need to be ready to be kind of guarded and protective of yourself. This means that I would just be very careful if you sense an argument boiling up, a political argument between you and someone that you're not very close with. Maybe just avoid that altogether. But yeah, I'm rambling, so I apologize if this is like not very coherent. I thought about writing a lot of this down and trying to make it cohesive, but I just like, I can't. Like, I'm still having a really hard time processing everything that's going on, and the Trump win, essentially, it's just very shocking to me. I was not ready for this, and I hate to admit that because like, I feel like you should always prepare for the worst or whatever. I was not prepared for this situation. realistically, like mentally, I was emotionally was not prepared for this, and I am very much in the throes of processing this. Like, I've been crying almost nonstop since I got home from work. At work, I had to kind of just keep it all together, like pretend like everything's okay. The second I got home, all the emotions started pouring out. But yeah, I apologize that this is not going to be very organized or anything. I can't be bothered, I guess, is the point. But essentially the message I want to get across here, the point of this particular thing I'm talking about right now, is that if you live in a blue state, I'm not gonna lie, you're probably going to be okay. If they pass some super draconian federal laws and things get really, really bad, then blue states might not be safe either. That being said, we have absolutely no idea what he's actually going to do with the presidency. So if we look at 2016, he said a lot of stuff like, build the wall and all this other stuff. And he really didn't do much of anything with his time in his presidency. He seemed to sort of just enjoy the fact that he had won. He golfed a lot. He passed the tax cuts. And I mean, that was really kind of it. He did some pretty bad stuff like the Supreme Court stuff or whatever. It wasn't great having him in office. It was definitely bad for the country, but he could have done a lot more if he wasn't such a lazy narcissist. What I'm kind of hoping for right now literally is just that. He's a lazy narcissist and he's older. He's 4 years older than he was when he left the White House. So basically my biggest hope right now is that he will just want to enjoy his victory and he will want to do maybe a couple things here or there. But because he's lazy and so full of himself, he will just probably most likely not want to fulfill on the more complicated promises that he has, doled out. So specifically, I'm talking about things like deporting 20 million people. There were so many things that he talked about during his campaign were extremely wild things to even attempt to do. Like a lot of the Project 2025 stuff is very concerning. And I'm just not really sure how much of that is actually going to get done. Like, we just have to see. He's definitely more radical and he's more unchained than he has ever been before. So there's a chance that he gets into power, and because there's no one to hold him back, he's just like a wrecking ball and goes crazy with his power. But there's also the chance that he does not do any of that, and that he just wants to sit back, do the tax cuts or whatever, ruin the economy, and then leave office in 4 years or something. I don't know. It seems very hopeful to say anything like that at this point. I don't know what to recommend to you, the person watching me right now, because I don't know your situation. All I can do is tell you what I'm planning to do. And if you think that sounds reasonable, then my advice would be to, look at your own situation and try to come up with a game plan. I think we all need to plan for the worst case scenario. So for me, that's planning to need to flee the country and seek asylum in a different country like Canada. If you aren't aware, there are quite a few countries, like more than a few countries, that will accept asylum seekers from the United States, political refugees, those kinds of things. So you may want to look that up, and you may want to get informed on that. And also passports. Like, if you do not have a passport or an updated passport, you need to. We have a little bit of time here, a couple months before he takes office. So I would really recommend using that time to prepare in any way possible for the worst case scenario. So get your passport ready. Start saving money. Anything, any luxury that you absolutely do not need. I hate to say this, but like, I recommend cutting it out and trying to save as much money and just like buckle down as much as possible. On top of that, I think that a buddy system is going to be incredibly important. I am building a community here. So for example, to use my community as an example, you can use my link tree in my description, join my Discord, follow me on my socials, join my Discord or whatever. And there are people in there, and you can talk and make acquaintances and stuff like that. Let's say you live in a deep red state and you're very worried about things getting extremely bad for you there. Maybe you can chat with someone that lives in a blue state, and maybe that you can, kind of create a buddy system where if things get really bad for you, they have a couch that you can crash on for a couple weeks while you figure things out. I'm not saying that you're going to find the perfect buddy in my Discord, because my community is still rather small, but I am trying really hard to grow and do this whole thing. And I think more than ever, it's going to be really important for me to do that. We need to bring people together. And over the course of this next 4 years, we really need to make sure that our community is strong, that we're tight knit, and that we're there for each other. Because I think that we can avoid a lot of violence and harm, or mitigate a lot of violence and harm through community. I think by being there for each other, we can do a lot, and we can, help soothe people's anxieties, make sure that people understand that there's a safe place for them to go. Like, sometimes people don't even need to flee. Sometimes they just need to know that they have the option to go somewhere safe if it gets too much for them, or if something changes in their situation and things take a dramatic turn. But yeah, I cannot emphasize that enough. Building community, being a part of a community, making friends, having buddies that that you can, trust in case of an emergency, that's going to be really important. And, that's going to also fall on the shoulders of certain people who are safe, who do live in a place that is not going to be threatened. You're possibly going to have to, help someone else out during a troubling time. You may have to let someone crash on your couch or whatever. That is very noble. That's an incredible thing to do. You may save a life doing something like that. But my immediate recommendation is to try not to panic. Try to keep enjoying your life to the best of your ability. Like, obviously, we're all going to go through a grieving process here. We're all going to have a lot of emotions we're going to have to process and get through. But I do recommend that as soon as you possibly can, try to return to your normal routines, like the things you were doing, 3, 4, 5 months ago that were, your normal life. Try to maintain those healthy routines. Try to take good care of yourself. Like me personally, I started working out for unrelated reasons, but now I definitely feel like I need to get into really good shape. Like, I feel like I need to be fit. I need to be ready for basically anything. So, like, I'm going to get my passport updated. I'm going to save money. I'm going to keep working out, try to get fit and healthy again, because I'm really out of shape. And I'm going to keep making this content here. I'm going to keep talking, and I'm going to keep trying to do this representation thing, because I feel like it's incredibly important. With this rightward push that we're experiencing overall, we need to have solid representation and people who can speak out and represent, the community as a whole. Now, of course, I don't want to do that by myself or alone or anything. There are many great content creators online already doing the representation thing, but I think that in this time, the more the merrier. So as for my channel moving forward, I will definitely be staying up to date with the going-ons. I'm going to be following my state news very closely. If you do not follow Erin Reed, Erin in the Morning, you need to. She's going to have incredibly relevant information. Anti-trans bills, all that stuff is going to be talked about in detail, and you'll get all the information from her about that kind of stuff. I am incredibly disheartened, and it's hard for me to want to talk about politics, but I know that it's important. Right now I'm struggling with it. This is kind of a weird thing, but like, my transition videos have been doing super well. My politics videos, not so much. And with this election happening the way that it happened and everything, it's incredibly demotivating. I have a lot of anger, and I have a lot of like, I'm kind of like disillusioned a little bit. It's kind of frustrating. So I know for sure I'm going to keep doing the transition content and personal blog, whatever kind of videos or whatever, just talking about transition stuff and my transition, that kind of stuff. People have been responding really positively to all of that, and I really appreciate that. That has meant a lot to me, especially over the course of these very stressful past few days. But I just don't know how much I want to cover politics on my channel moving forward. I feel like I'll probably talk about the important stuff that's going on. I think what I should do is probably view this as a business decision and say, like, hey, the transition videos are doing better. It's bringing more eyes to my channel. It's helping me build my platform and build my community. And honestly, it's been really satisfying. It's been really gratifying. And the engagement that I've gotten on my transition videos has been incredible. Like, I've read so many wonderful stories from people. People have shared some really wonderful things with me, and people are so kind and encouraging and supportive. And that has been such a positive thing that I feel like maybe it would just be better if I did more of that rather than trying to do something that I care about, but maybe it's not doing so much of a positive thing, like with my political content. Okay, so I know this is kind of a short video for me, but I really don't have much else to say. Be safe, and just know that even though things seem pretty dark and we just don't know what the future is going to look like, that we will find a way. We will.